bad about giving away all those secrets. Jeez. Keep it going for Antoine. All right. Absolutely. It's no secret. He's my best friend. Well, folks, it appears that we are fast approaching the end of the night. There's only one more secret left to tell here at Grown Up Story Time. We can all go home, or at the very least next door to Shoeshine Charlie's Go Fly Kite Lounge. What a great bar for the Horny Talk Tuesdays. And I don't really have much more else to say about the exercise of revealing your secrets. I've talked about how dope it is that we get together and we tell each other stories and we share our experiences and our truths. I've talked about how to make biscuits. And if any of you actually else want the recipe, I guess I'll write it down for you guys too. It's super freaking easy. But Jet, I will see you later. Hell yeah, dog. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't have anything else to say other than thank you guys for being here. Thanks for choosing live storytelling events over, the Face Talks or the Tube TVs or the whatever. I hate whenever people do that kind of stuff. Why did I just do that? Anyway. Thanks. It's good to be reminded that I'm annoying. All right. Well, while you clapping, you may as well keep it clapping going for the final storyteller of the night. Sound like a million people. Reading Mark with a C is Katy Manning.
I can't see anyone because my glasses aren't clean enough, but I just want to say I'm a therapist, and if you need to find a therapist, because a lot of the themes tonight, and not because of that, but just in addition to that, please DM me and I will help you find a therapist. I'm tagged in one of the GUST posts. I'm being very serious even though I'm making this face for some reason that I can't control. So Mark with a C. My cousin Mark, with a C, died a couple days ago, which sucks all on its own, obviously, but it's extra weird because I've been thinking about him a lot lately. It may sound rude, but I hardly think about him at all usually. But our grandma's been sick, and I'm planning a trip to visit her, and all of our family. And also I decided that one of the characters in the new thing I'm writing could have a secret thing with her cousin. I also had a secret thing with my cousin. Not as much as this character has, not by a long shot, but I have been doing a lot of reflecting on past experiences, translating those experiences into those of a fictional character who I can't deny is based on parts of me. I was really looking forward to seeing him, my cousin Mark, when I go in a couple weeks. I even thought I might stay with him when I was there. So now this complicated person that I loved, who I was planning to spend a significant amount of time with very soon, was just suddenly not available. Unavailable in the most literal way you could ever mean that word. Not obtainable or accessible. Mark would never again be accessible to me, and what a weird way to think about it. Like all future access has been just taken away. And for what reason? Not a good one. Someone asked me about him today, what he was like, if he was cool. I said no, he was not cool. He was crazy. There's been a bunch of family drama going on with my grandma, and when my mom called last night, I was sure it would be an update on that. She was going to tell me an update on Aunt Nancy. She was going to tell me about her visit to the home today, whether they decided to keep grandma there or not. Maybe she would complain about my lazy dad. I did not expect her to tell me that Mark was dead. The first thing I said was, my cousin? As in my cousin. He was mine. He can't be gone. He was exactly 9 months younger than me because he was conceived when the family was in town for my birth. I have always loved that about us, like it gave me ownership of him. This version of Mark wouldn't exist if not for me. Mark and I were already the closest of the cousins growing up, but in 2014 we spent one crazy week falling very quickly in and out of love. The first night I was there, all of the family came over for a big dinner. Afterwards, Mark and I went to this little suburban sports bar, smoking inside, pool tables, and a very weird bar setup because until very recently, it was a strip club. We had a great time. Then we went to a Walmart to find a cot for me to sleep on since my mom had the only spare room and she's a very loud snorer. By this time, it was getting very late. We tried on all the hunting gear and took photos with guns and of us pretending to fish, and Mark teased me about being a hipster. Finally, after about an hour and no luck on the cot search, we decided to just sleep in the same bed. It wouldn't be weird, he said. We did it all the time when we were kids. So we left Walmart with our only purchase, a 6-pack of beer, and we went back home where we watched So You Think You Can Dance, his choice, drank a little, talked a lot, and went to sleep. There was some light cuddling which felt charged, confusing, brotherly. Not brotherly. But it didn't feel wrong. I was enamored and so was he. Except for when he was at work, we were almost inseparable the entire visit. My other cousin, his brother Benjamin, lived on the beach. Almost every day ended with us driving to the beach and picking up Benjamin. Mark would buy us both dinner. Me because I was visiting, and Benjamin because he was a beach bum and mowed lawns for a living. We would get wasted at a Mexican restaurant and then go to the beach for a night swim with Benjamin's dog. On my last night in town, we did just that. Hung out on the beach with Benjamin, ate food, played with the dog, got very drunk. Mark wanted to stay at Benjamin's that night, but I had to leave the next morning very early, around 8 a.m., and I didn't know my way back to his house. I know now that there was a part of me that wanted him to come back for other reasons. I didn't want to spend my last night there apart. He agreed that we would go home, but we needed to make one stop on the way. The stop was for him to buy cocaine, which he said would help keep him awake on the drive. He offered me some, of course, and this was about when I started to fall out of my week-long love with my cousin Mark. I gave him a $1 bill to use, and that was about all I had to do with it. We drove home and climbed into bed. Our cuddling was decidedly weirder that night. It was my last night there, after all. He was coked up. Clothes stayed on. We never kissed. We talked about what a great week it had been and how much we would miss each other, but I already had one foot out the door. I already wanted to be gone. Everything already felt tainted. It suddenly felt very urgent that I get back to my real life away from him. Then out of the blue, Mark leapt out of the bed, started throwing clothes on. He had to leave, he said, right now. It was probably 2 or 3 a.m. at this point, and he had to work at 8 tomorrow. I couldn't sleep after he left. The whole situation, the whole week was so strange, so unsettling. A couple of hours later, he came in, turned all the lights on, and started opening and slamming shut every dresser drawer and every cabinet in the room like he was looking for something. I asked what he was doing, and he turned and yelled at me, "None of your business, don't worry about it." And then he disappeared again. He showed back up right as I was packing all of my stuff, around 7. He didn't say anything, just climbed into bed. I didn't say anything either, just picked up my bags and left the room to finish packing the car. We never talked about it, about anything that happened that week, and now we never will. The next time I saw him was when I showed up at his father's funeral a few years later. He looked so relieved to see me, despite all the weird things that happened between us. And yes, there is more that I'm not even going to get into with this story. It will always feel good to know that you can make someone feel better with just your presence alone. To know that there is something about you that makes pain more bearable. It hurts to know that I'll never see that expression from him again in real life, and to know that it'll only distort further as I age. I'm already forgetting all sorts of important things about everything, not just him. Anyways, I was glad to be there for him that day, to hug him. When I walked up to the chapel, we saw each other, and he broke away from the group he was standing with, and we walked straight for each other, right into each other's arms, and he started crying, and it felt like we were little kids again. He looked very handsome and very sad in his black suit. The next day, he, Benjamin, and I sat on his mother's dining room table playing cards. Our mother sat together on the couch in the other room while their mom wailed, just wailed, and Mark said softly, "Jesus, this is hard to sit through." Last night, I dreamed I died. I was in a car with family, different family than his. And the person driving took a turn too wide, and we just drove right off a cliff. I knew immediately that we were going to die, but we had the fall first. I was in the back seat, and I could hear my mother in the front passenger seat praying, which surprised me. I remember thinking, should I decide to believe in God now that I'm dying? What if? And then I thought, no, I don't believe in God. but I have lived my life according to principles that I believe to be good and true. No one's perfect, but on average, I think I've done more good than bad. I don't need to believe in God to know that. Then I thought about my husband, who was not in the car with us, thank God, and I thought about how much I love him and how much he loves me, and that made me feel very peaceful. Like, yet another good thing that I've done with this life. It wouldn't be so bad to die, knowing that we had loved each other. That's an amazing thing to accomplish. And the last thought I remember having was that I hope we died quickly. The fall was so long enough for me to think all these thoughts. So I figured we would die on impact, but that was my final hope. For a quick end, not to suffer, like a light getting snuffed out. I woke up when the car would have hit the ground. I really feel like I wrenched myself out of that dream, kind of like saving my own life. And when I woke up, it really felt in my mind and my heart like I had been about to die. Dreams are weird, man. What even are they? This morning, the morning that I am writing this story, which is one morning after I found out my cousin died, and the same morning that I dreamed I died, I saw a dead mouse lying on the floor in a parking garage. The rule of threes might be the greatest constant in this world.
I'm going for Katy and for every single writer and reader who made this night possible. Thank you guys so much. Keep it going for Blair, Emily, and Amanda for doing this month in and month out. Keeping this going. You know, it's one of the great privileges, as I said, the things we get to do here in Houston. You know, in decades' time, as I'm lying on my deathbed, you know, hopefully on April 20th, 2069, before I say one final nice and shuffle off this mortal coil, I'll remember when I was here with all of you, getting complimented on the color of my hair, and telling all these secrets. Anyways, tip the lovely Jake, get home safe, have a great night, have a great life, and we'll see you next month.